My name is Raisa, and I'm on the marketing team at Progress. Before we start, I just need 2 minutes of your time to go over housekeeping items quickly. So if you have any questions, please submit them in the Q&A section at the bottom, and we will be answering them during or at the end of the presentation. We will also recommend closing any additional programs or browser sessions running in the background as Zoom events are bandwidth intensive. And finally, as always, we are recording this event and an on-demand version of the same will be available to you soon. So let's go ahead and get started. Over to you, Michelle.
Hello and welcome. Today, as Raisa was saying, we're celebrating the May Mega launch, and we're so happy that you're all here with us. Why is it mega? Today, we're going to talk about a new product, enhancements, features, and solutions that are going to not only increase your ease of use, but also simplifying the complex. We have the honor today of being with our industry and chef leaders to discuss today's launch. Prashant, our Vice President of Product Marketing, and Sharon, who is our Principal Product Manager, as well as a few engineers, architect, and 2 SAP multi-cloud engineers, Rohit and Justin, and you'll hear from them in a little bit later. But why don't we get this party started and celebrate? Today, we're going to be talking about Enterprise Automation Stack Momentum, Chef InSpec 5, and Cloud Security. Prashant, you want to take it from here?
Hey everyone, super excited to be here and thanks for joining us. Like Michelle said, we have a lot to cover and we are very, very excited to share a lot of updates. There are 3 major news we wanted to share. We have been focusing on enterprise automation stack from the last year and a half and or even 2 years even. And in that we have been driving a lot of outcomes and building capabilities which will help you in your journey. And then we have Chef InSpec 5.0. This has been launched long due. Sharon is here to join. Sharon is joining with us. He is the leader for compliance and security. And of course, last but not least, we have a new product launch, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Before we get started, I'm Prashant Nanjundappa. I lead the product management. Today, let me share some of these exciting news and outcomes that we have been working towards. Before we get into the details of some of the deliverables or some of the releases in Chef Automation Stack, just a quick recap. As you are all Chef users, you are aware of Chef Infra, Chef Compliance, which together helps you not just manage secure infrastructure, but also continuous compliance, and Habitat, which is the powerhouse of app delivery. Right? Chef Enterprise Automation Stack brings all of them in a unified way, and which help. And also we have helped define certain patterns through which you can have consistent experience in maintaining secure infrastructure, continuous compliance, and also seamless application delivery. In this, one of the common asks that has been around is to make sure that Chef software is highly available. Automate has been the bundle through which software through which we are bundling all our Chef products. And also it is the control plane through which you can access and have visibility into the products that you use. But there was one limitation which has been served in different ways. That is around high availability deployment. Chef backend, which is end of life, on the path to end of life, was a previously supported high availability version. And a lot of other customers didn't have a choice, and for them we did a professional service driven consultative approach to have a high availability deployment. Now we are happy to announce high availability deployment of Automate out of the box. Currently it is in early access, and this is going to be GA really soon. With this, you can deploy Automate in a high availability mode with just a few clicks and with simple instructions to follow. And it will also give you opportunity to scale up and scale down according to your needs and manage efficiency. And of course, at the core of it, it is to increase reliability of Chef software, in turn making your system super reliable, so that you can manage the critical software through Chef products. And another thing that we have been working really hard, and again through input from many of you, and for most of you, this might be a very familiar feature because it was a beta for a while. So data feed is now live, and we have and it is GA as well. And not just that, we have out of box capabilities for many popular tools through to which you want to send out not just OHI data, but also compliance scan data. So it's available on ServiceNow, Splunk, ELK, and not just that, you could also have out-of-the-box integration with S3 as well as Minayo. This is really easy to plug in, and like I said, these are available within Automate out of the box, and which will let you not just send the data to your favorite tool, but also through ready-to-use integration with ServiceNow and other CMDB services, you can set up workflows which can be triggered upon incidents that you are not expecting, but you want to be ready when such incidents occur. And of course, one of the biggest thing that we have been constantly working on is make the policy as code easy to use, easy to adopt. And last year around this time, we launched compliance phase in Chef Infra. And we have been working very continuously and consistently to make that experience easy, so that you can be successful in your policy as code journey, and we can help make that adoption of policy as code very smooth. At this point, Sharan, do you want to come on and share some updates on what are the new things around this, and also talk about InSpec 5.0?
Sure. Thanks, Prashant. Hello, everyone. It's an exciting day for all of us here at Chef, and it's also a good segue to talk about some of the security and compliance related features. So specifically about the Chef Infra client compliance phase, one of the biggest benefit this provides to all our customers is the fact that you pretty much now get to run your compliance and auditing right out of your Chef Infra client. You don't have to use any of your third-party content. You don't have to write any of your cookbooks. It's all built into the Chef Infra client. It's going to use your Chef InSpec engine, and it's going to use your profiles. So it's really a fantastic new feature. Also, there is absolutely nothing to download. There is nothing to sync down into your Chef Infra client. There's no upgrade required. And all you need is basically one single attribute. And once you turn it on, you have your Chef Infra compliance phase all for you. And using that, you can get your compliance and auditing within your Chef Infra client run. Moving on to
Sharan, did we? We also made some changes on the linting or customization of the profiles as well, right?
That's right. That's right, Prashant. So I think one of the biggest help that we have been able to provide in terms of helping out has been the fact that a lot of our customers who are using the InSpec CLI, and if they want to really communicate with their Automate, one of the ways they want to do that is to use the InSpec Automate command. So what you basically get here to do is from your InSpec CLI, you get to first connect with Automate using your API authentication. You then get to see a list of profiles which is there within your Chef Automate. You can download the respective profile that you would like to make changes to that particular profile offline, and then upload it onto your Chef Automate and run it on your target system. We also have a command for that, which is InSpec Automate exec. So this is really a cool way in which you can run your Chef InSpec Automate command. Basically, connect to your Automate instance from your Chef InSpec CLI and get that extra aspect of customization that you would require within your profiles.
So what you're saying is, like we are about to hear some of the improvements in InSpec. What you're saying is it's not just InSpec standalone. If you are using InSpec through Automate, all those capabilities are available through Automate as well. So you don't have to install multiple softwares. All you need to do is install Automate, either in a high availability mode or the standard mode, and the not just the capabilities of InSpec in the command line, but you can execute through Automate as well.
That's right. That's right, Prashant. Yeah.
Thanks. Do you want to take over and talk a little bit on the InSpec related improvements itself, Sharan?
Sure. Let me do that, Prashant. Yeah. Cool. So let's start with some of the new features that we have released as part of Chef InSpec 5.0. But before we start with the features, let's very quickly head into some of the exciting numbers. We have some great numbers to start with. So we have close to around 854 PRs merged. We had support for more than 500 cloud resources, and this is across various cloud providers. 130 odd in AWS. 66 odd within Azure, and more than 200 resource support within Google Cloud product. We also had 13 new Chef InSpec features released, and 8 new platforms supported from InSpec. And finally, we also added 27 new resources. From Chef InSpec 4.0, which was kind of released a few years back, to Chef InSpec 5.0, we pretty much followed an agile set of releases. We're packed full of features, and we are going to talk about some of these features today. To start with, one of the important feature that we released is our enhanced support for databases, and this has been something that we've been targeting towards security admins or system admins, security specialists or auditors, who plan to develop or deploy applications which may use databases ranging from SAP to Oracle to MongoDB to Cassandra, and so on. So we basically support CIS content for all these databases completely out of the box, and we support the new and upgraded versions for these databases from a CIS perspective. Moving from databases to operating system, a single operating system can pretty much have close to 200 to 300 configuration settings, and it's very difficult for someone to manually kind of configure these settings and really look for misconfigurations. So we now have support for newer versions of Linux as well as Mac Monterey OS. Both from CIS perspective. What that can do is really automate the whole process of looking for misconfigurations within these operating system, so you have a very safe and secure environment. As we mentioned sometime earlier as well, it's very important for us to write Chef Infra cookbooks, and it's important for you to write them correctly. And what we do with CookStyle is we provide you with the capability to write better Chef Infra cookbooks. We're going to detect automatically correct the styles within your cookbooks. We're going to look for syntax or logical mistakes that you may make in your code. With CookStyle, we are pretty much also shipping close to 300 different rules which can detect code mistakes, which can enforce enforce a common coding style, helping in better team collaboration. So it may happen that all of your team members can code in a common pattern, in a common syntax, and that really helps in a lot of peer development. We also offer you COPS that really cleans up portions of your code which are no longer necessary, and also detect deprecations that prevent these books from running on the latest versions of Chef Infra Client. So as you may have realized by now, cloud has been a major focus for us, and we have added tons of resources support. We have added close to 500 plus resources. All these resources basically correspond to your services within your cloud, like for example, EC2. And what this really does is using each of these resources, you custom rules. You can check for your customized settings. Like for example, you may want to check whether a specific S3 bucket is encrypted or not. You may want to also check if a specific port within your EC2 instance is open or not. So all of that can really help you to migrate to cloud safely, and from there onwards you can build a very a kind of a safe and secure environment for your cloud and cloud native applications. With that, I hand over to Michelle for community recognition.
Yeah, so there's some exciting stuff, and I'm glad that you told us about that. But I know we've been really busy, and especially making sure that we're letting everyone know how to use our products and how they can be really solutions in the area. I wanted to take a brief minute, though, to interrupt you just to talk about our community. But before I do that, I forgot to introduce myself, so I'll do that right now. My name's Michelle Seebeck, and I'm the product marketing manager here at Progress Chef. And like I said at the beginning of the top of the hour, it's really all these changes are based on the contributors, the community feedback, the trends in the industry, as well as your use cases. So I wanted to take a minute again to recognize the community and talk about those stats. So what we have for this year, the stats for our community is we had around 400 contributors, 270 plus repos, about 10,000 community members, and that's based on Slack, not even the other areas of opportunity where we join. And we had 50,000 pull requests. So when we talk about Chef, we talk about really how we're successful and how we can make solutions and have that ease of use and making the complex so simple. It's really because of our community's help, and you really are the recipe for success. And we want to celebrate you as well as your contributions. So I thank you. We thank you. We wanted to take a moment. Also, if we go to the next slide, it talks about who are our chef wizards, and you'll see some names listed. These are the people that really have contributed over the last couple months on either testing or writing cookbooks or helping us with some issues or bring to our attention some ways that could be even better. Again, special kudos to all of you. What I'm going to do is, if you're here, just know we appreciate and we thank you. We're going to be sending you out some swag. It's on its way. And speaking of swag, I don't think any of you have forgotten, but just in case you did, there is a giveaway today for attending live to this event. We'll tell you more about that later, but just know that we're giving away because we want to celebrate you and you joining and making us better. What we like to do is we value you and we want to recognize you. So we have this community recognition program for those of you that aren't familiar. It's an award program designed to acknowledge, appreciate, and engage the contributors. And of course, swag is always a good thing. Prizes are always a good thing. Who doesn't like free swag, right? We also are giving away complimentary Chef Conf tickets, badges, and more. So stay tuned for that. I just wanted to have this PSA and interrupt our latest. So here we go.
And I also want to take a moment and thank all of our community members because it is not just the engagement, it is also the value that comes out of it on identifying opportunities of improvement, and also in many cases areas which we think was not possible. Right? Many times we have seen patterns that emerge because of communities adoption, and then we bring those patterns to broader audience. So thanks again, and we are learning, we are getting better, especially after the acquisition. Hopefully, we will continue improving our engagement, and we will find ways to mutually benefit with this engagement. Thanks again, and Michelle, back to you.
Yeah. Now the moment we've been waiting for. Well, at least me and 720 of our closest friends who's registered for this live announcement. What are we introducing today? A new product into our portfolio.
And
And
super excited about this. And what's very interesting about it is it has come out of feedback that we have been getting from our customers and users, both open source as well as our customer user base as well. Right. So we have seen, at least in the last ChefConf and between then and now, there has been a lot of patterns emerging of using some of the chef tools to help manage cloud security posture management. But while they were doing it, there were also multiple gaps that surfaced. So what we did was we listened to you all, and and that got us excited. And then we took a closer look at how can we bridge those gaps. And the amalgamation of that is Chef Cloud Security product. I can talk on and on about it, and Sharon here is there. He's going to talk a little bit more in detail of what those capabilities are. But we thought we will bring some experts, industry experts and practitioners who have been dealing with the complexity of cloud. I'm super excited to have Justin and Rohit join us from SAP. And we wanted to avoid glitches during the webinar. They are live, they are here with us. They will be joining us to answer any Q&A. But before that, I wanted to play a video where they shared their experience of how Chef has been helping SAP in maintaining cloud security posture management. Let's look at that recording, and then we have Rohit and Justin here with us to answer any questions that we might have about this.
My name is Justin Nichols, and I'm a SecDevOps engineer with SAP Multi-Cloud. I joined the team in June of last year and have been able to work hands-on with InSpec while we've rolled out and continuously improved our cloud security posture management solution.
Hey, hi everyone. This is Rohit, and I work as multi-cloud SecDevOps engineer at SAP. And I joined back SAP in July 2020, and it's been like almost 2 years now. I've been here. I'm currently mainly involved in the operations for an internal product based on InSpec that we have recently launched. And I've been closely involved in the InSpec controls development across AWS, Azure, GCP, and Ali Cloud as well. And it's absolutely great to be here. So it's a really interesting story on how exactly all this journey started with Progress. So it actually began around like November 2019, when we had actually started to look into some possibilities that could complement and add some additional functionalities to the existing CSPM tool that we already had at SAP at that time. But then after that, we actually started working on our secure by default controls, which are also known as like the preventative controls. And we basically built out this controls using InSpec. So at that point, it was just the SAP scale that we are mainly concerned about for actually using InSpec for writing the detective controls. And it actually began with an engineer saying, like, have you heard about the InSpec for this use case? So it really began from there. And our team, which is like the multi-cloud SecOps team, like we really believe that given the ability for an application to scale when containerized, we knew that we could possibly operate InSpec at this large scale.
Since then, we have developed a full stack solution based on Chef InSpec, which makes use of multiple cloud native services. This internal tool is now the authoritative CSPM solution for security and compliance data across the entire SAP cloud landscape for AWS, Azure, GCP, and Ali Cloud. With the configuration data that we get from our InSpec controls, we're able to not only report on misconfigured resources, but also show data on compliant resources. Another huge benefit of using Chef InSpec in our solution is that Chef InSpec codebase, being open source, allows us to investigate root causes of false positive alerts and add new functionality to existing Chef InSpec capabilities. This gives us the freedom to implement new detective controls on tight timelines, minimizing the time between corporate policy updates and scans which we can report the actual compliance against these policies.
And yeah, so as far as our relationship with Progress goes, I must say it's really been amazing. We have been active contributors to the InSpec resource packs for AWS and Azure, and support from Progress team to actually have those pull requests reviewed has been great. Given the scale that SAP runs at, like it's quite obvious that we came across some issues related to API throttling for Azure and GCP, and we were able to actually largely resolve them by optimizing our scans at both the control level as well as the resource pack level. We were also able to optimize the number of API calls made by working with Progress to add some great functionalities in the resource pack for AWS, like for example, the lazy loading and the caching. So the support from Progress on this was really very instrumental in overcoming these issues and having the product to bring at a stage that we are at right now. So as far as the tech stack that we have engineered goes, so we currently run compliance scans using InSpec and other tools across 4 cloud providers mainly, the AWS, Azure, GCP, and Ali Cloud. And also one thing to note is like we have also covered in the Azure China and AWS China regions as well. So we currently cover about 10K cloud accounts being scanned and about 8.5 million cloud resources. Like this is the scale that the SAP currently operates at. So previously we had to operate a China specific instance for our CSPM tool. But now with the product based on InSpec, we are basically able to get all the compliance data we need with InSpec and then ship that data to our central reporting tool. So basically that has given a great advantage of basically including all into one and this kind of solution that we have currently. So initially we started off with around 100 controls written in InSpec, which covers highs and medium severity across many different services that mainly include the storage, networking, IAM, logging, and more. For example, of a policy for a control that we have developed is basically we check that our S3 buckets within our AWS organization are not publicly accessible. So this is just one example, and we have like many such controls written as per the policies defined in SAP. So we continuously review our current controls. So that's a big advantage. We continuously keep on reviewing those, update them wherever necessary, add the new ones if something new comes up, and also remove the outdated ones. So using Chef InSpec, which is basically gives us the ability as compliance as a code. So this gives us the flexibility to basically align these controls with our corporate policies and be up to date with it.
To run our scans at scale, we've containerized InSpec using Docker and orchestrate our containers with Kubernetes. After a scan of our landscape is triggered, we pull account metadata for all SAP cloud accounts in Azure, AWS, Ali Cloud, and GCP. Then we add these accounts to a queue to be scanned. At this point, pods are scaled out on our Kubernetes cluster to handle a large number of accounts. After each account is scanned, we send the results from InSpec off to a reporting tool where we can further analyze changes in control failures and notify account owners of the failures. This allows them to then react and create an action plan to remediate these non-compliant resources. In addition to the global scans that we run, we have created a container for our lines of businesses to integrate directly into their CI/CD pipelines. And this allows them to detect any resource misconfigurations early on in the software development lifecycle.
Yeah, and one of the most important security requirements for public cloud is to ensure that the misconfigurations in the landscape are avoided. If not completely avoided at the early stage, even if they appear later, should be quickly remediated. So misconfigurations can leave landscapes inadvertently exposed and vulnerable to the attacks without the operator being aware. So scanning for these misconfigurations is very crucial, and this impacting security is called cloud security posture management in industry, which is basically tied to some common security policies and frameworks.
With Chef InSpec and other tools, we have improved our turnaround time to identify and fix the misconfigurations, given the dynamic control changes we do to be up to date with detecting cloud resource misconfigurations. This was important given the scale of SAP's cloud landscape. As a provider of solutions for customers operating on public cloud, and through SAP's own internal public cloud use, the growth of cloud accounts and resources will only continue. We are very much looking forward to the InSpec 5 and Chef Cloud Security release and hope it provides some great functionalities and helps the community with achieving better security and compliance. Thank you.
Hey, Justin, hi Rohit. Thanks for sharing that. If you're around, do come online. We have a couple of questions waiting for you.
Hey, Prashant, Justin here.
Hey, hi everyone, Rohit here. Good to be here.
Great. So that was very insightful. I hope, I was very heartened and glad to hear how we have been using. We have a question around, can you tell us about one or two security risks you think you were able to avoid by automating misconfiguration checks?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. I can start off with, and then Justin can add to that. So basically at the moment at SAP, as we mentioned, we cover a wide variety of policies and we have written the controls for that. So that essentially covers like the domains like the storage, networking, IAM. And so one example is like with the ports. So basically we have a policy to enforce that the well-known ports are not open to the internet. So that essentially just avoids any kind of attacks being made on the public cloud infrastructure from the internet. So I think that that's really crucial, and the most important policy that we have is just restricting the well-known ports from being open from the internet. So that could basically reduce the attack surface and just help us achieve a better cloud security posture at SAP, given the number of attacks that are basically done from the internet nowadays. I think that's really important, and we enforce that as one of the policies for all our hyperscalers with AWS, Azure, GCP, and Ali Cloud as well. And I think maybe Justin, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, sure. So in addition to these network checks, we also look into whether logging's configured on a whole large list of different services across the different cloud providers. And also encryption as well. We're looking into whether encryption's enabled for these different services. So it's a wide breadth of checks that we're able to do with InSpec, and really wouldn't be feasible for us as an organization to check these configurations without it.
And as a follow-up, how often do you find violations or things actually going off the radar? These checks are there to make sure things are in place, but is it very often, or is it very unlikely? How often do you see these things going off?
Yeah, so with that, we have our own central reporting tool as well, where we basically perform scans every week. So we perform like the scans across all the infrastructure 2 times a week, and all the results basically get dumped into a central reporting tool, from where we make sure that the reports are basically handed off to the relevant account owners. And from where we have this regular cadence where the reports are being shared. We have our internal office hours where we just share the insights and just help understand why it's important to have every policy in place. And I think that's something we do at a very regular cadence. It's not something that we do very rarely or like within like a large period of time. It's something we do like regularly, almost every week. We have the scans coming in, we have the reporting, we have the reports being placed into the hands of the account owners, from where the appropriate action is taken as well. So I must say this is something that we are really proud of at SAP, where we do this at a regular cadence and make sure the cloud security posture management for the entire public cloud infrastructure and the scale that we run at SAP is really up to date. And also, as you mentioned previously, with the dynamic policy changes and the control changes, I think it really helps us to keep abreast with the latest security standards in the industry as well.
There is also, thanks, Rohit. I think that's insightful. So what you're saying is it's not just about running these, but also the data is available centrally across all these clouds, the checks across all these clouds for the team to review and act when things go out of place.
Exactly.
And there is a question around the shared responsibility metrics. While cloud providers provide ability to manage the ownership of the services that they provide, but there is certain amount of responsibility on customers to maintain security and compliance posture. Can you share some insights on how are you taking the shared responsibility matrix?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of work goes into understanding on our side and our developers' side where that responsibility comes in. So we have a central security organization that within SAP defines and puts a lot of work into understanding that responsibility. So we have these policies, and these are policies written in plain language. Like for this service, you have to do these configurations. These are up to your team to configure these in a secure way. So with that work that is done to identify those policies, we also need to put those into code to quantify, are these policies being followed, and understand at a large level how well we are following, and with new developments, understand how well we're following that shared responsibility. And InSpec allows us to do this and identify those misconfigurations, identify where we're not following our policies. Yeah, it's a great tool to do that.
And thanks for that. We are seeing acknowledgement of that in the chat. There, I seem to have missed another question, which is around how do you manage checks when nodes go up and down? In a cloud world, things come and they get provisioned and then they get teared down. Do you have such scenario? If so, how are you using InSpec along that kind of setup?
So we're not using it as an agent on VM, so we don't have to worry about that specific VM going down. We're using Kubernetes to orchestrate containers, and we basically have a queue of accounts that need to get scanned. So if some pod or if a pod goes down that's running a scan on a particular account, that account would just get added back to a queue and picked up by another pod. So yeah, that's the advantage of us being able to do that on Kubernetes. I don't know, Rohit, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, sure. Just one thing to add, I would like to add is basically we are using the PubSub service where the accounts get queued up in the PubSub, from where one account is picked up by the pod in the Kubernetes. The scan is run. And once the scan is completed, that account or the message basically gets acknowledged. And once the message gets acknowledged, means the scan for that account is completed, and then the another pod picks up another account, or basically that's the message in terms of PubSub. So that's how we basically run the scan.
Clearly, you guys operate at scale. Plain vanilla deployment is not sufficient in this case. Looks like you need to coordinate all these scans. So that's very insightful. I know there could be some more questions that come along our way. Maybe let's take one question, and then we can pause and then look at questions towards the end. There is another question on what if the scan fails for an account? How do you go about it?
Yeah, so like whenever like the scan fails, in the sense like whenever the account is not getting scanned due to some internal issues, the account doesn't get acknowledged. And once the account doesn't get acknowledged, it doesn't get out of the queue. It gets back into the queue. It gets stacked up back into the queue. And then again, there's a retry for the account to get scanned again. So I think that use case is basically handled well by the PubSub with the acknowledgement that we do once the account scanning is completed. And I think like the way we are checking whether the account gets completed, that's basically based on the InSpec when it returns all the results for the accounts after it gets scanned there.
And
awesome.
we've identified some like unrecoverable errors for specific scenarios that we're able to then throw into an error queue, and then someone on our team can specifically go in and investigate what happened on that account. What is it that is causing that error, and resolve it from there.
These are great insights. I'm respectful of your time, and I know we are very, very appreciative of you joining us. We would be happy if you could stay through the call, and we have some more time towards the end. If you are available, we'll relay some questions that might have come between now and then to you. If not, we will request you to respond to them via an email or that sort. Thanks again, Justin, Rohit, for joining us. This is very insightful.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course, pleasure. Thank you so much.
So this is these are kind of the feedback that has led to kind of productize some of these capabilities. Sharon is going to come back again, and he will talk about how these capabilities and some of the other more than these capabilities are available for all of you to utilize through Chef Cloud Security.
Sure. Those were some great things to hear. Thanks a lot, Rohit, Justin. So with that, let's dig a bit deeper now into Chef Cloud Security. So Chef has been a pioneer in ensuring security and compliance for a broad range of systems, ranging from applications to operating systems to databases. What we're doing with Chef Cloud Security is we are now entering into the cloud foray. We are providing the best practices for your cloud providers, all major cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and GCP. You can also build your own custom policies besides CIS benchmarks. Some of the examples are, as Rohit and Justin mentioned, looking for specific ports, and if those ports are accessible to the outside world. That's something which is also feasible, if you use our open source framework, which is Chef InSpec. Additionally, you also get the best practices for your container environment. To start with, you get your best practices for Kubernetes as well as the Docker environment. And all of this really supported by a very strong visibility and governance framework, giving you that hybrid cloud reporting, giving you those very easy to read, filterable scan reports with very detailed view on what actually is going wrong. Also giving you information on what is a code that's playing behind the scenes, what is the InSpec code that is working out, and what is the InSpec code that's actually making these checks on your cloud account. And eventually, all of this data, you can get it onto your Chef Automate single pane of glass, but you can also take it into your third-party tools, ranging from ServiceNow to Kibana to Splunk, or any of the other tools with our Automate API integration. So as Rohit and Justin mentioned, let's also dig deeper into some of the cloud security use cases that we cover. And one of the biggest use cases, the privileged account access. So ensuring privileged accounts, specifically admin or root, to be controlled with a controllable manner is really important because these accounts really carry elevated privileges. Most of the data breaches occur whenever the threat vectors compromise privileged accounts. And as these accounts pretty much hold the key to every door within your system, you need to add that additional layer of protection. And that's what Chef really provides you. It provides you the ability to control your usage of your privileged accounts. Data exfiltration is a very common use case. It's all about really ensuring that your network and port settings are appropriate. Just a quick example to be protecting your port 22 from your outside world. Cloud storage services have been great. Companies have adopted cloud storage services just because of the sheer flexibility, because of the sheer elasticity that they provide, also because of the pay-per-use model that storage services adopt. But one of the biggest bottleneck or one of the biggest blocker can be if you are using an unencrypted S3 bucket or if you're using a publicly accessible S3 bucket. All of that can really pose a big data risk to you. And that's something that we need to avoid. And that's something that Chef can help you avoid. Suspicious network connection is basically looking for unencrypted communication channels. It can be, for example, using a TSH and so on.
So, Sharon, did you have a survey that you wanted to put in?
Yes, so I think we can put up a poll question, which can, which will basically, it'll be great if you can help us with understanding what cloud technologies do you use today, what cloud providers do you use today. Obviously, we support the AWS, Azure, GCP to start with, but if there are other cloud providers, we would love to add support to them as well, and then in the future. Cool. So let me continue. So we, apart from the cloud security use cases, as I mentioned, we are providing the best practices for all major cloud providers, helping enterprises maintain their cloud compliance posture, helping you to detect your cloud misconfigurations. It's also possible for you to prioritize those misconfigurations. You can really allocate your resources to really look at the most critical ones, address them at the at first, and then go into the low priority ones. So that's something that's feasible based on the risk that each of the failures and failed misconfigurations pose to you. Also, with these benchmarks, we cover a broad range of bucketized services, ranging from identity to access management to storage to logging to monitoring and networking services. All these services are very critical to the successful functionality of a business, but they're also very critical in terms of the threat vectors they pose. So it's very important to keep them secure. And by using CIS, you can actually keep all these services secure and safe. So moving on to from a container and Docker perspective, we provide the CIS benchmarks, which is actually a very important first step towards your cloud native world, providing you with the Docker and Kubernetes CIS best practices, so you can harden your Docker and Kubernetes environment. You can also build your own custom policies, again using the backend Chef InSpec code. And all of that compliance data, as I mentioned, you can drill down into the details. You can look into the specific setting, the specific instance which is creating problem, and you can also move all of that data into your CSV or JSON format, take it into your external systems. So some of the container security use cases that we cover, one of the key container security use case definitely is to have a secure Docker host. And once again, a common use case here can be having a controlled privileged access, so that you kind of gently ensure that your privileged accounts are used very responsibly and in a controlled manner. Ensuring the host on which Docker itself is mounted is hardened. That's another very critical feature. And with Chef CIS content, what you can do is you can actually harden that particular host So let's say if you have your Docker host on a Ubuntu system, you can harden that using the CIs for Ubuntu that Chef provides. Apart from that, you can also have your image files, your build files, as well as your configuration parameters. All of them can be appropriately set. Moving on to the Kubernetes world, control plane is a very critical component, and ensuring that that is secure is super critical. And it really means you can validate your cluster configuration, again, based on the CIS benchmark for Kubernetes. And finally, scanning images for compliance issues or vulnerabilities. That's another very critical aspect that we cover. So just an example of the container security privileged access use case. The first of them is basically ensuring that only trusted users have access to your Docker daemon. You do not want guest users to access your Docker daemon. And that's a super critical control to check for. The second of the control, again, is more of a controlled privileged access. You do not want to run your Docker exec command with a privileged option because that can really give you some elevated privileges, and that can really expose your threat vector. So one of the I think before we jump into reporting aspects, let's get into the next poll question. And as we spoke a lot about the container world, we'd love to understand from you what container technologies you use today. We have a bunch of cloud managed Kubernetes, we have self-managed Kubernetes, we have a bunch of other providers who are providing cloud native environments, and you may be using multiple of these environments. So we'd love to hear more from you. What do you support today? So our focus today has been around the Docker and Kubernetes, but we would love to expand our support, as we hear more from our customers on what's really needed.
And we have a demo of the product, which is coming up next. I think there were some questions around how can we support, how can you scan AWS and Azure through Chef Cloud Security. So that's what is coming up next. And there were some questions around reporting. So hopefully you will get those answers when we switch over to the demo shortly.
Sure. As I mentioned, let me very quickly cover the reporting aspect. So one of the key differentiators that we provide is, as I mentioned, a very strong visibility and governance framework. Giving you that hybrid cloud reporting. We cover all your cloud providers. We cover all your cloud native world, your orchestration environments. We cover all your on-prem databases, applications, and operating systems. So it's basically a single pane of glass, which pretty much gives you a view into your entire environment. Along with that, we also get historical data, so you can really compare how your compliance posture is changing, and also provide you with a view where it becomes very easy for you to understand what you really need to fix within your environment, so you can improve your compliance posture, kind of saving your operation costs there. So with that, let me take you into a demo of how all of this plays out.
Before we get started, let me showcase how easy it is for you to connect your cloud account or your cloud native environment to the Chef Automate. So I'm going to get started with on the settings page. I have a node integration, and I can create any new integration. I have AWS here. I can provide any specific identifier, and I can also provide the access and secret key for the AWS account. And then I'm going to save this integration. Just for the demo purpose, I have an AWS East account, which is basically my production account, which really means that I need to be extra careful. This particular account is completely misconfiguration free. I'm going to trigger a scan on the account through scan job. And I'm going to choose the specific AWS account. And I'm going to add the specific CIS benchmark. And I can provide a name for this scan job so that I can refer back to it later. I can also specify a schedule. So I can, if I can specify when I need to have these particular scans started as well as ended. I can also repeat the scans for every few minutes, every hours, every few days, weeks, or months, so that you really get a continuous view of your compliance posture.
That's awesome. So Sharon, you mentioned you have support for other cloud profiles. Do we have a similar flow for those as well?
That's right, Michelle. We have a similar flow for the other cloud providers as well. In fact, we have the integration. All you need to do is pretty much create the integration, just like I showcased for AWS, for your Azure, or for your Google Cloud account. And once you do that, you pretty much get into your compliance scans, and you can choose that particular account, and you can create a scan job, and you pretty much get the results there. So Chef is pretty much so Chef is in fact one of the first provider which is certified by CIS for all the three major cloud providers: AWS, Azure, and Google.
Oh, awesome. And to be the first provider certified by CIS for AWS, Google, and Azure, that is very noteworthy. Hey, can we take a look at the Azure? I'd like to see that as well.
Sure. Let me go through the Azure profile. So here you have the Azure profile. We have a bunch of controls. We have close to 92 controls, and each of these particular controls pretty much go through your Azure account, and they make a check for the configuration based on whatever is considered appropriate and whatever is considered as a best practice as per CIS.
So just so I'm clear, we're not just looking at the system here. This is you looking at my Azure configuration around like user access management or network roles, right?
Yes, that's right, Michelle. So let me take you through one of the examples here. So I have this control, which basically, which basically looks for guest users in Azure Active Directory account. And what this check does is, since Azure Active Directory is again a very critical component, it's best to avoid guest users as part of Azure Active Directory, just so that you don't have the vulnerability exposed. And what we do here is the inspect code, which kind of runs at the backend and kind of iterates through each of the users within your Azure Active Directory, and kind of flags an error if there is a guest user as part of your Azure AD. So this is just one of the example for the Azure CIS benchmark.
Great. So give it a few seconds and we can see if the report is there. So yeah, do you think it's done or?
Yeah, sure.
That was fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go through the report, and I'm going to specifically choose a fail control so that I really explain you the criticality of the configuration check. Yeah. So this is one of the one of the checks that we have made on the AWS account. And what this check basically does is, and it's a very common failure, exposing S3 bucket or making it publicly accessible is a very is a very critical misconfiguration, because this really exposes your S3 bucket to the outside world. Anyone can log into the S3 bucket and can read in the content. And specifically what the inspect code is really doing at the backend is it's pretty much iterating through each of your S3 buckets, and it is flagging an error wherever it was not expected to be made public. Like for example, we have this particular bucket here, which was not supposed to be made public. And you have the the inspect source code at the backend, pretty much doing the trick for you.
Is there a way that I can take this data to external systems?
Yes, absolutely, Michelle. So you can take in each of, you can take in the information. There are ways to download this as a CSV if you just want to use this report for auditing purpose. You can also download it as a JSON if you want to integrate your JSON file with any of your external systems. And we also have a bunch of integration through our data feed capability within Chef Automate. So you can create a new integration within ServiceNow, Splunk, or else stack, and you can export all of this data into your external systems. Apart from this, Chef Automate also provides the APIs. Outside of these systems, you can also generally use the APIs and pull the data into your environment. So that's pretty much feasible from the Chef Automate end.
Awesome. So can you help us with what you have for containers? Let's say I have a Kubernetes environment, basically a K8 cluster. How will you help me? Or let's even try the Docker environment.
Sure. Yes, we do have the profiles for both Docker as well as Kubernetes. Let me open up the Docker benchmark. So again, we have a bunch of controls here, which basically makes checks on your Docker host, and it looks for specific configuration based on the CIS. And if the configuration is not accurate, it basically flags an error. I can just take one of the example. It's a good practice to really have separate partitions for containers. If that's not, then this particular control pretty much flags you an error, and you have the inspect code, which basically does this for you. Let me show you how easier it is for a customer to also connect the Kubernetes environment to Chef Automate. So all that we need to do is you get into node credentials, and you can create a credential, which is basically you can add in the credential for your Kubernetes master node, and you can provide a username. You can provide the corresponding password, and you can save this particular credential. I have in fact done it for one of the Kubernetes cluster master node. And once you've done that, you pretty much do this, the same process as you have done for the other cloud scans. You pretty much go through your scan job, you create a new scan job, and you choose a specific node. So what I've done here is I have selected the Kubernetes master node, and I'm going to select the Kubernetes CIS profile that needs to be run. And I'm going to provide a name for the scan job. I can also set schedule if required. And I'm going to save this Kubernetes scan job and let it run in the background while Chef does the, while Chef actually scans the Kubernetes cluster and looks for any misconfigurations.
Sharon,
so what would you say is really the differentiator for Chef?
Sure, Michelle. So the biggest differentiator for Chef is the fact that we are a proven leader in validating system configuration. We have done this in the past, and we have an expertise in monitoring and reporting configuration issues, specifically the compliance specific issues. So you get a very resilient, scalable environment that increases security and reduces risk. We also firmly believe in the coded approach. In fact, Chef has been a pioneer in leading the evolution from infrastructure as code to policy as code. And with policy as code, you basically have all the three teams. You have infrastructure, security, and compliance teams all coming together and pushing their code into a single pipeline, into a single framework. We are also truly multi-cloud. We pretty much scan all type of environments, your cloud environments, cloud native environments, containers, Kubernetes, even virtual machines, Windows and Linux virtual machines. So in a sense, we are truly hybrid cloud. And what customers get is they get to manage both their cloud as well as their on-prem environments using the same tools, using the same processes. And they get a single pane of glass where they can review the compliance and the security posture. So those are kind of the biggest differentiators for Chef.
Well, this is great. Now, can we go back and look at K8? And while you're doing that, I especially like the policy of code way of doing things, where we merge the infrastructure, security, and compliance to that single pipeline. I think that's very powerful.
we see that the Kubernetes misconfiguration scan has been pretty much completed. And I'm going to pull the report. I can choose one of the failed controls. So just as an example, etc daemon is one of a critical daemon within your Kubernetes cluster, and CIS basically has certain regulations with respect to the data directory ownership. And if that's not set, the inspect code pretty much flags an error. So there have been a couple of instances where this was not set, and that's been pretty much flagged as an error from the inspect code. And you also see the inspect source behind the in the background, which pretty much kind of looks for that particular check on the etc daemon.
Okay. I can't believe it. There you have it. You just showed us in about, what, 5-6 minutes how we can use Chef and protect your cloud native environment, safely use the environments to have your applications develop seamlessly and with agility. That's incredible. What I took from this is it's fast, it's detailed, it's easy to use. You can filter it, you can export it. Chef's the first provider certified by CIS for all three, AWS, Azure, and Google. Using that coded approach makes things more seamless, and we can scan any type of environment over multi-cloud. That's incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to show us that. And as always, for the viewers, if you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're only a click away.
Cool. So there you had a very sneak preview into our Chef capabilities and some of the fantastic new features that we have offer. If you'd love to connect with us, learn more about cloud security, please provide your response to the poll question. We'd love to hear more from it. And I just want to leave you with the last slide. Besides trying out all the new, EAS features, trying out the Inspect 5.0 features, also looking at the new product, Chef Cloud Security. Please do subscribe to our Discourse channel. You get to see, you get to hear the latest release announcements from Chef. You get to see everything that's coming from Chef releases, so you can stay up to date and you don't miss a thing. With that, I hand it over back to Michelle.
Yeah, so some good. Oh, sorry, Prashant, go ahead.
So there are questions around Michelle. If I can take a minute, there is some questions around how can we try this. Of course, this is available for you to evaluate. We can get in touch with you and share more details on how you can try this. Look out for a follow-up email from our team on how to get more insights on getting started with this. Back to you, Michelle.
Yeah, definitely. I know that I knew it was going to be jam-packed, but from the responses, I'm so glad to have that open dialogue, because I think that's really what resonates most, at least with me, being engaged and making sure. But on the next slide, I do want to tell you guys two things before we go. Well, actually, three things. On our next slide, we're talking about Chef Conf. And Chef Conf is going to be back. This year, we're going to have it live, and we're going to do a hybrid event. So what's going to happen is we're going to be in Boston, September the 11th through the 14th. We're going to have 3 events all in one place. And this isn't like Chef Cons in the past, it's even better. So what we're going to have is this multi-dimensional event designed to empower you with the information, the products, and the personal connections to take it to that next level. So be on the lookout. We're going to have 2 industry-leading events, DevReach and ChefCon. And there's going to be a lot of good things. So look on our website, check back, look in your emails. In the community, there's some chat. We're going to have some call to papers and call to speakers. So if there are things that you want to talk about, simplifying complexity, let us know. And then what I want to let you know also is hashtag ChefCon 2020. So 22. So if you have any questions or any comments, definitely hashtag us and we'll pull that together. And to wrap everything up, because it's been a little bit more than an hour, I do want to let you know that we do have resources and materials where you can not only see this presentation again and again at your leisure on demand, we also have resources for the EAS, the Inspect 5, and Chef Cloud Security, where we have new product pages and solution pages on our website today, a couple case studies that are new, data sheets, as well as some new videos that are in the queue. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback. I dropped in my email address if you have any questions for me or any comments or just want to talk more about cloud security. We'd love to have that discussion. And again, I appreciate your time. Join our community and help us be even better the next time. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. This is a very engaging discussion. I'm looking forward to more engagement. Any questions you have, we are hanging out on Chef Community Slack. And like Michelle said, reach out to us or email, and we'll be happy to talk more. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Prashant, Michelle, Sharan, Justin, and Rohit. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. This event was amazing. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. So before closing, I just want to remind again about the on-demand version of the event, which will be available soon, and we will email it to you as soon as it's ready. And yes, few of our lucky attendees will receive surprise swag too. So keep looking for our follow-up email. So with that, thank you again and have a great day ahead. Goodbye, everyone.